Good morning, my dear students. Today we are going to start with another topic, that is factors affecting the drug action. I hope you have completed with the pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. Now we will be studying how a drug affects, or how does it reacts on two different people or on the same person at two different occasions.
Okay, factors affecting or modifying the drug response. Now, I told you, suppose we both, I and you are having a specific group of drug. Maybe, okay, we'll take the example as paracetamol. So, we both are having paracetamol 500 milligram. But the response of paracetamol in me and in you will be different. Now, why is it different? That is the chapter related to why it causes difference in different people and also in the same person at two different kind of occasions. So today we'll be studying variation in response of a drug that or same dose of a drug between two different people or different patients and in the same patient on different occasions. Now, what are the variations of drug response? Why such a difference? This is nothing but due to the individual difference in pharmacokinetic handling of a drug. Different drugs will have different or they attain different varying plasma or target site concentration. For example, this is mostly seen with drugs undergoing metabolism than those drugs excreted unchanged. That is, drugs which undergo metabolism is propranolol and those which are unchanged is atenolol. So these drugs will have different pharmacokinetic properties or attaining level will be different. Then second is variation in the number and state of receptors. State of receptors. And the third includes the neurogenic tone, variation in neurogenic tone and hormonal tone. Um, for example, will be atropine tachycardia will depend upon atropine is a drug, anticholinergic drug that produces tachycardia that will depend upon vagal tone. If I have a smaller, lesser vagal tone, tachycardia will be less, higher vagal tone, tachycardia will be more, depending upon the variation in the neurogenic or the hormonal tone. So these are the three characteristic features which can bring a change in the drug response. Coming to the important factors modifying the drug action. There are 12 factors and we will be discussing all of them in detail. First, body size. Second, the age. Third, sex. Fourth one, species and races. Then genetics, route of administration, environmental and time of administration. The psychological factors, pathological factors, others, which includes drug interactions and accumulation plus tolerance. These are the 12 factors that affect the drug action. We will be dealing each one in detail. Today's first class will be about the first six. I'll teach in detail about the first 6 points today. Okay. First, coming to the body size or body weight. Now, this can influences the concentration of the drug attained at the site of action. Suppose somebody has a larger size or heavier size requires higher dose, lesser size, lesser dose. That is, in case of edema, the patient's extracellular volume will be increased. So we require a larger dose of drug. Now, in case of malnutrition, the metabolizing capacity of the drug will be reduced. So we need to reduce the dose of drug. Now, these factors should be kept in mind while calculating the dose of a drug for a particular patient. Now, the drug dose is always in terms of milligram per kilogram body weight. So, before calculating the dose to a particular patient, we should check the size and weight of the patient. As I told you, body size influences the concentration of drug attained at the site of action. Average adult dose for a medium built patient. Now, the dose is calculated by individual dose is equal to body weight in kilogram by 70, okay, into average adult dose. Now, this is the calculation of a dose for a average or medium built patient. Body weight in kilogram by 70 into average adult dose. Okay. Again, the body weight or the body surface area. Now, I told you body surface area. Um, More than the above formula, body surface area will give you an accurate basis of dose calculation. This is because it is important in case of total body water, extracellular fluid, and metabolic activity, which can be better assessed with the body surface area. Now, there is a formula that is individual dose is equal to body surface area in meter square by 1.7 into the adult dose. Now, there is another formula that is no need to study that, but this is used for a specific case in which there is edema, extracellular fluid increase or total body weight increase. We use this formula. Both are used in a clinical practice regularly, but we recommend the first one. Okay, next factor is the age group. Now, age group can be for children, neonates, children, adult, and elderlies. Different age groups will have different pharmacokinetic property as well as different changes in the drug action. Okay, different ages will have different pharmacokinetic activity that causes the differences in the different age groups. Pharmacokinetic of many drugs change with age. Now, there are few formulas for each age calculation, especially for the children's. Okay, children. Now, coming to newborn, what happens is liver and renal functions will be less developed, so drug dose should be reduced. Now, in elderly, the hepatic and the renal functions will also decline. There also, you should reduce the drug dose so as to prevent from toxicity. Now, glomerular filtration will be reduced in infants. So, such cases also, those which are excreted through kidney should be reduced. Drugs which are excreted through kidney, the dose should be reduced. Blood-brain barrier. Some drugs are more permeable in infants and may cause accumulation, causing coronavirus. Okay, as I told you, age in children, there is a special group of formulas where we can calculate the dose of a drug. One formula is the Young's formula, which is the most commonly used. That is, child's dose is equal to age plus 12 years and plus 12 into adult dose. And I will repeat once again: age plus 12 into adult dose. This is Young's formula. Dilling's formula is nothing but age by 20 into adult dose. Age by 20 in adult dose. And Clark's formula is body weight in kilogram by 70 into the adult dose. Now, these are the three different formulas in which we calculate the children's or child dose. We usually follow with the Young's formula. In children, the dosage form of the drug is also very important. Now, solid dosage forms and aerosol inhalation will be very difficult in children. While for such for such drugs, we have prepared various forms of elixirs and suspensions. That is, their dosage form are in the form of syrups. Syrups include elixirs or suspensions. Now, what is the difference between elixir and suspension? Elixirs are nothing but the drug molecule will be mixed in an alcohol based. Okay, for that we don't require shaking while at the time of usage. While suspensions contain undissolved particles that must be distributed throughout the vehicle by shaking. That is, we usually see an instruction in the medicine or the bottle that is shake well before use. For those syrups are nothing but suspensions. So in children, under age group, another factor that differs is the dosage form. Dosage form for kids will be in the form of syrups. Syrups includes elixirs and suspensions. Coming to the elderlies. Now, elderlies, what are the different factors that affects the pharmacokinetic property? Now, there is a slow absorption due to reduced gut motility as well as blood flow to the intestine, lesser plasma binding due to lower plasma albumin, and also decreased or increased volume of distribution of lipophilic and microphilic drug respectively. All these changes will bring about difference in the drug response. Coming to the side effects, more incidence or increased incidence of adverse drug reaction will be seen in the elderly patients, and also they are more prone to show different side effects like post instability, dizziness, and mental confusion. Coming to the next factor, sex. Now, sex includes male and the females. Coming to the females, females are considered to have a smaller body size, so they require a smaller dose when compared to the male section, when compared to the normal range of the drug. Now, special consideration should be given to females during menstruation, pregnancy, and lactation. Some drugs which are usually prescribed for any condition cannot be given to the cannot be given to a female who are pregnant because of the fear it may affect the fetal life. So, few drugs are restricted during pregnancy, and also few drugs have changes during the pregnancy situation. Now, physiological changes during pregnancy will also alter the drug deposition. In males, drugs like methyl dopa and alpha blocker may interfere with the sexual function in males, but not in females. The overall effect of drug deposition is complex during pregnancy, so sometimes it is very difficult to predict the outcome in a pregnant lady. Okay, few changes that should be noted. Females have a very smallest body size, so they require a smaller dose of drug or require doses that are lower to the normal level. Now, for example, digoxin in the maintenance therapy of heart failure. Mortality is higher in females. Beta blockers, methyl dopa, and diuretics in females, and there is no changes, but in males it causes sexual interference in males. Gynecomastia, gynecomastia are seen in metoclopramide, chlorpromazine, and ketoconazole, mostly in the males. Pregnancy, particularly third trimester, has different changes, and sometimes it is very complex, and we cannot predict the outcome. So these are the few examples of drugs in different sexes. Okay. Coming to the species and races, there are many examples for differences in responsiveness to the drugs among different species. Now, coming to animal species, rabbits are more resistant to atropine. Examples I'm speaking, rabbits are very resistant to atropine. Rats and mice are very resistant to digitalis, and rats are more sensitive to curare than cats. Coming to human beings. Human beings example includes blacks require higher dose of atropine while mongols require a lower dose of atropine for the action and ephedrine to dilate the pupil. See, mongols require lesser dose to produce dilatation of the eye, while blacks require, darker skinned people require higher dose to produce a dilated pupil. Beta blockers are less effective as antihypertensive in Afro-Caribbeans. In those species, the requirement of beta blocker will be less effective as an antihypertensive agent. These are few examples for species and races. Coming to the next factor, that is genetics. Now, in genetics, dose of a drug to produce the difference in a drug to produce the same effect may vary from 4 to 6 fold among different individuals because of another factor is nothing because of the rate of metabolism. Now, this metabolism is controlled by different isoforms pattern of drug metabolizing enzyme. Metabolism is controlled by different enzymes. Now these enzymes are genetically controlled. So if there is any difference in the genetically controlling of the enzymes will lead to difference in metabolism and find the difference in drug reaction. So another factor which causes difference in drug action is genetics. Difference in target organ sensitivity. In short, the target organ sensitivity. Okay. Two terms that you should know under genetics is nothing but pharmacogenetics and pharmacogenomics. Now, what is pharmacogenetics? Pharmacogenetics is a study of genetic basis for variability in drug response. Now, suppose in metabolizing enzyme will be under genetic control. What is the genetic control of such enzymes? That is the knowledge and which individual has these responses. So, the study of genetic basis for variability in drug response. While pharmacogenomics is nothing by applying the above, which patient is having difference in variability and giving different drug in response to the other. So the use of these genetic information to guide the choice of drug and dose on an individual basis to have a better outcome. Okay, that is the pharmacogenomics. I hope you got the difference between pharmacogenetics and pharmacogenomics. Pharmacogenetics, I repeat, pharmacogenetics nothing but studying the genetic basis of variability in drug response, while pharmacogenomics is the above. That is, we know the variability and applying this to a particular patient and giving a different drug in response to get a better response. That is, use of genetic information to guide guide the choice of the drug and dose on individual basis. I'll show you few examples and let make you understand much more easily. Okay. Okay, examples for pharmacogenetics. I'll tell you some in the first chapter. You will be in the first chapter in ANS. You will be studying about atypical pseudocholinesterase. Now, usually in our body there are pseudocholinesterase in a very few amounts. Some patients will not have this pseudocholinesterase. Instead of this pseudocholinesterase, there will be atypical pseudocholinesterase. This pseudocholinesterase is required for metabolizing a drug named succinylcholine. Now, if succinylcholine is given to such patients who do not have pseudocholinesterase, will result in succinylcholine apnea. So, atypical pseudocholinesterase will result in prolonged succinylcholine apnea. I hope you understood. Some patients will not have pseudocholinesterase, which is required to metabolize a drug named as succinylcholine. So, if during surgery, if succinylcholine A is given to such patients, they will result in succinylcholine apnea due to atypical pseudocholinesterase. Second example is D6PD deficiency in will be responsible for hemolysis with primaquine and other drugs. See, suppose G6PD. G6PD is nothing but glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. That enzyme deficiency will lead to hemolysis. When patients with D6PD deficiency is given with primaquine will result in hemolysis. Okay, so genetic base of variability, if you study it earlier, if you prevent or do not give these steps, we can prevent these side effects from these patients. Okay, I hope you got the essence of what is the genetic variability in prescribing a drug. Okay, these are the first two examples. There are many other examples where warfarin is controlled by that's a metabolizing enzyme, that is cytochrome P269, but their variants will metabolize warfarin at a slow rate, resulting in the risk of bleeding. Warfarin is nothing but an anticoagulant drug. Now, if it is not metabolized properly, it will lead to bleeding. Okay, there are many other examples that you can read through the textbook. I am just explaining the first three examples in the textbook. Okay. Coming to route of administration. Now, route of administration governs the speed and intensity of drug response. Now, parenteral administration is considered to have more rapid and more pronounced and more predictable drug action. Some drugs on different route of administration have different uses. For example, I'll tell you magnesium sulfate. Magnesium sulfate, when given orally, is used for purgation. When applied locally, is used for inflamed area, that is to decrease edema. And while given intravenously, will cause CNS depression and hypotension. So, a drug used in different routes, different form route gives different action. Okay. This is example for route of administration. Okay, we have completed with the first six factors that causes difference in drug action. I hope it is clear. The first 6 points are clear to you. If not, please do comment in the box. If any problem with my presentation, any clarity issue, any sound issues, do mention. Today, I guess my sound is a bit low. When I feel it is a bit low. I'll try to make it try to increase it in my next class. Any doubt, please to ask. So I'll just round up with today's class. We studied what are the different factors that leads to different drug response. First was our body weight or body size. Depending upon the body weight, there is difference in drug response. More the higher the weight, we require larger dose of drug for action. Then we studied then what was the second one we studied? The second one was the age. Different age groups will have different metabolizing properties. So different age has different doses required. A child's dose was explained in my slide. Third, we studied about sex. Sex in males and females. What are the difference? Females are considered to have a lesser body mass, so lesser dose of drug was required. Are usually required, not was, are usually required. Then species and races we studied. Special races require lesser dose, while some races, mongols, require lower dose, while Africans require a higher dose. In genetics, we study two terms in genetics, that is pharmacogenetics and pharmacogenomics, studying the genetic variability in drug response. We first studied few examples, that is atypical pseudocoordinate stress will cause prolonged succinylcholine apnea, and G6PD deficiency will lead to hemolysis with drugs like primaquine and other oxidizing drugs. Okay, plus route of administration. This was the main points we studied today. I hope it was clear, and if you have any doubts, please do text me, or else you can comment in the comment box. Also, if any problem with the presentation, please do comment. I hope this class was useful to you. Thank you. If you have completed with the class, please to mark your attendance by writing your name under the comment box. I hope you have all done for your previous class and do for this class also. Thank you.